So this might be more of a soapbox kind of video, me just kind of riffing on a specific subject. I mean, the world is in chaos right now, and I don't want to spend too much time to going over specifics. But I guess I want to just there's this idea that's kind of just been permeating in my head for a very long time, and it's part of a bigger issue of watching our heroes fall. And what I mean by that is guys like Neil Gaiman and Joss Whedon and actors who turn out to be just garbage humans and rapists and all this other stuff. And I guess the bigger point I'm trying to get to is I think humans, artists, creators, influencers, I think, well, have you ever heard the term, with great power comes great responsibility? Yeah, I know, that's a stupid question. Of course you've heard that term, especially if you're a comic book creator. But have you ever thought what it really means? And in the comics and where we've heard that term the most, it means if you can pick up a car, then you have a responsibility to use that strength to save people. The simplistic term is if you have superpowers, then it's your responsibility to be a superhero. But what does that mean in our world? And here's what I think it means. I think it means that if you have a message and influence and a platform with a lot of ears hearing what you have to say, then it is your responsibility to maintain your integrity. Now, let me throw a few examples of that. Have you ever heard the speech from Neil Gaiman called Make Good Art? But basically his whole point is, I think it was a graduation speech or a keynote or something like that, but the gist of it is when everything is going wrong, when politics are crazy, when your cat dies, when you stub your toe, when everything is going wrong, the solution to that is to make good art. Because as an artist, even non-artist, but like art has a way of nurturing your soul. So the idea there is, what do you do when shit's going crazy? You make art. What do artists do? The idea is that art is important. It's important for many, many reasons. But like when bombs are going off in other parts of the world and people are starving and politics are going crazy and things like that, and you're someone who just wants to draw comics, you're like, what the hell am I supposed to do? I'm not a soldier. I'm not a this or that. What you're supposed to do is keep doing what you're doing, make art. And there was a point earlier in the year when I was leaning really hard on that idea, and things were not working for me. I think there was some political upheaval happening and things were just making me feel really bad. And I remember I was feeling like, what's the point of what I'm doing? And I went looking specifically for that video and I watched it, and it did a lot for me. And I was going to share a clip of it and something told me not to do it. So I was like, whatever, you don't need to share this. This is, you've nourished your soul with the thing you needed to hear. You found some wisdom to keep you going. All right, cool, whatever. And the next day is when all that Neil Gaiman shit blew up, whenever the allegations were coming out. And, I'm like, well, I'm glad I didn't share something from Neil Gaiman as one of my heroes right on the cusp of him being revealed as a sex offender or whatever. But that's not, here or there. It's not like that would have changed the fact that I got something from his words, and a lot of artists have got something from his words, and a lot of LGBT people have gotten things from him. He's been a bastion of hope for many people. There's something about seeing someone in that level of fame and notoriety and respect, frankly, standing up for the things you believe in. It makes the things you believe in, it makes you feel validated. Sorry. Makes you feel validated in believing what you believe. You're like, hey man, this person who is also considered a wise person, a respected person, someone who knows what they're talking about, they believe the things I believe. And it helps, And then Neil Gaiman turned out to be a world-class piece of shit. And now if I share some wisdom from him, it can easily be deflected. It can be dismissed. Oh, that's coming from Neil Gaiman. Why should I listen to that? Or, Joss Whedon has a lot of that kind of stuff. A lot of my favorite quotes are from Joss Whedon, honestly. There's one from Angel, and specifically, we live in this world as if it is what it should be, so we can show people what it could be. That one lives in my head rent-free. I haven't heard it specifically in maybe 15 years, but it's one of my favorite moments in all of TV. And Joss Whedon was a hero to a lot of people, but Buffy was this icon, and she still is, don't get me wrong, but there's something lost when these people turn out to be terrible. There's something lost when their message loses some of its weight when it's attached to those people. Another example, I'm not a Christian. I'm decidedly turning, the older I get, the less Christian I get. But there's a pastor named Mark Driscoll. And I'm sure he has a lot of really wise things to say sometimes when it comes to living a godly life, but he is an abusive piece of crap. And so anytime he speaks, anything he has to say, it just goes in one ear and out the other. He could be giving me the answers to the universe, but because they're coming from him, I'll never listen. I don't care. If God's message to me is coming from that guy's mouth, he picked the wrong messenger. That's just the way it is. So here's another example. There's, this one's bad, but Bill Cosby. There is a clip of him, it's about a minute long, and he's talking about how if a black man kills somebody, it's all over the papers. A black man killed this person, and they focus really heavily on black this and black that and black this. And so if a white man kills somebody, the paper will still say the person killed somebody, but he's just a guy. He's just some regular guy. He's just a guy who killed somebody, but they don't focus heavily on the fact that he's white. His whiteness has nothing to do with the fact that he kills people. And it's a great it's a great little nugget of wisdom. It's a gem of honest critique. And it's so profoundly worded, and it's coming from fucking Bill Cosby. And that's my point. My whole point is if you have a message, and not just a creator of an artist, but if you're trying to go out there and make a better world with your art, if your whole thing is you have a message, then it is incumbent upon you to maintain your integrity. Because if your message is important, then you can't be a piece of shit. You can't tell stories about paragons of virtue and then be this sort of lying, stealing, cheating piece of crap. Because if it's important to you that you make paragons of virtue with your art, if your art is important enough to you that you feel like you're telling people it's important to be a paragon of virtue, then you can't not be that. You have to be the thing that you're telling people to be, because it loses all of its weight. Everything that Bill Cosby said was true, and it was very true, and it was very poignant. It was very wise words. But if I shared that with somebody, they're going to be like, yeah, but Bill Cosby is a piece of crap. Bill Cosby is a rapist, garbage human. He should burn in hell. Why should I watch this video? Why should I hear anything he has to say? Same with Neil Gaiman, right? He stands up and he's like this this ally to the LGBT people. He's an ally to feminists. But it turns out he was I don't know if he's a rapist, but he's definitely like a sexual misconduct freaky guy that hurt women and took advantage of his power over them. So I want to insert this little caveat in here because I can foresee somebody thinking that I'm saying that we all need to be these sinless paragons of virtue, and absolutely that is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, if your message is so important to you and you're found out to be the opposite of your message, then that taints your message. That's really all I'm saying. Yeah, just know that, at the end of the day, with great power really does come great responsibility.